It was a hot, humid day. I was sweaty and the mosquitoes were relentless. I was doing forestry work, marking trees for a logging job, deciding which trees would be cut and which would remain. That responsibility weighs on you. You're not just working in the forest, you're shaping what it will become. I was focused on getting it right. After working in a pine stand all morning, I stepped away and found a spot on a slope to sit for lunch, overlooking the area where I had been marking trees. I was a few bites into my peanut butter and honey sandwich when a bear came sauntering out of the pine grove. It was the first bear I had seen in the wild, without being in the safety of a vehicle. At first, I felt excitement, then uncertainty, then fear. The bear wasn't looking at me, but it was coming from the exact area where I had been working all morning, where my scent and paint were everywhere, and it was walking up the slope in my direction. I faced my options. I could stand up and try to move away, or I could stay completely still. Running didn't feel wise. Movement didn't feel safe. Stillness felt like the only intelligent option. Sitting still while a bear walked toward me is one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. My heart was pounding, my body was trembling, but on the outside, I did not move. The bear kept walking up the slope, steady and unhurried. Closer, closer. I realized that if it continued on its path, it would pass me by, narrowly. It came within about 20 feet of me. It never looked my way. It passed by and continued deeper into the forest. I felt alive in a way that is difficult to explain. Grateful, alert, completely aware of how close that moment had been. I stayed there for a long time before moving again, listening, aware of my body, aware of my place in nature, aware of how thin the boundary is between observer and participant in this wild world. What stayed with me most wasn't fear. It was the realization that sometimes the wisest action is stillness, even when everything in your body wants to react. In trusting that instinct to be still, I experienced the lived reality that sometimes power resides not in action, but in restraint.